Welcome to Max Premieres. Netflix has thousands of films in its catalog, and sometimes the best ones are the hardest to find. Today we're bringing you 10 movies worth watching that might not be on your radar. Some are recent releases, others have been waiting on the platform for you to discover them. Crime thrillers, historical drama, pure action, and hidden gems worth rescuing from the scroll. Everything you need for a great movie night on Netflix. But before we dive in, it would mean a lot if you took a second to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for your support. Number 10. The Rats, A Witcher Tale. Long before Ciri ever crossed paths with them at the end of The Witcher's third season, the Rats were a gang of 6 young outlaws surviving on the fringes of the continent, stealing, running, trusting no one but each other. This Netflix film tells the story of their most ambitious score, infiltrating the most dangerous fighting arena in the kingdom, guarded by a magically transformed monster, and making it out alive. To pull it off, they recruit Brian, a washed-up alcoholic witcher from the Cat School, played by Dolph Lundgren. It's not a perfect film, a complicated production history trimmed it from a series down to under 90 minutes, but for fans of the Witcher universe, it adds context and humanity to characters the main series barely had time to develop. If you finish Season 4 and want more of the continent, this is your next stop. A production that proves the Witcher universe has plenty more to explore beyond the main story of Geralt of Rivia. Number 9. Caught Stealing. It all starts with a neighbor's favor, watching a cat for a few days while the guy travels to London. Hank Thompson, a former bartender, alcoholic, once a promising young baseball player whose career never took off, agrees without thinking twice. Hours later, his apartment is being hit by Russian gangsters, Hasidic assassins, and other dangerous types looking for something Hank doesn't even know he has. Set in the late 90s New York, Caught Stealing is directed by Darren Aronofsky, the director of Requiem for a Dream and Black Swan, and stars Austin Butler, Zoe Kravitz, Regina King, Liev Schreiber, and Matt Smith. It's a crime thriller that moves like a freight train, brutal and darkly comic in spirit, somewhere between Guy Ritchie and early Tarantino, soaked in the gritty energy of the city back then. Butler carries the film with movie star charisma that justifies every bit of the hype surrounding him, 84% on Rotten Tomatoes. It hit Netflix in November 2025 and immediately landed in the top 10. One of the most entertaining films the catalog has added in recent months. Number 8. Train Dreams. An entire life told in just 100 minutes. That's what Train Dreams offers, an adaptation of Denise Johnson's novella following the life of Robert Granier, a laborer felling trees in the early 20th century in the American Pacific Northwest, as railroad tracks are being laid across a country being remade from the ground up. He builds a cabin, marries, has a daughter, and then a fire takes everything from him. Directed by Clint Bentley and starring Joel Edgerton and Felicity Jones, the film premiered at Sundance 2025 and arrived on Netflix in November of the same year with a 94% Rotten Tomatoes score. It's small in scale because it follows the life of a man history will never remember, and at the same time enormous in its emotional reach because that life is full of loss, labor, and moments that stay with you. Edgerton is at his best. It's not for everyone, but those who connect with it will remember it for a very long time after the credits roll. Number 7. Spencer Confidential. Spencer walks out of prison after serving 5 years for assaulting a corrupt police captain. His plan is simple: leave Boston forever and start fresh somewhere else. But when that same captain turns up dead alongside another officer, Spencer knows something is wrong, and nobody has more reason to investigate than him. He teams up with Hawk, his new enormous and unpredictable roommate who's training to be a boxer, and together they unravel a conspiracy reaching into the highest levels of the Boston Police Department. Spencer Confidential is a Netflix original directed by Peter Berg and starring Mark Wahlberg and Winston Duke. It doesn't try to be anything it's not. It's an entertaining, easygoing action comedy with good chemistry between its two leads and enough tension in the action sequences to keep you hooked. If you're looking for something to watch without much effort that leaves you satisfied when it's over, this one delivers. Wahlberg and Duke have the buddy chemistry the genre needs to work properly on screen. Number 6. The Huntsman. The Huntsman is the name the press gave to a serial killer believed responsible for the murders of 6 women in a small southwestern town. Lincoln, the prime suspect, is shot outside the courthouse and left in a coma without ever being convicted. Max, an ICU nurse, volunteers to read to him while he remains unconscious and gradually finds himself pulled into a web of lies, obsession, and buried secrets surrounding the patient and his devoted wife. The Huntsman is based on Judith Sanders' award-winning novel, directed by Kyle Kawika Harris, and stars Shawn Ashmore, Elizabeth Mitchell, and Garrett Dillahunt. It's a slow burn thriller that prioritizes atmosphere and ambiguity over shock value. Elizabeth Mitchell is the real engine of the film, delivering a subtle and unsettling performance. It's not flawless, but it keeps the intrigue alive all the way to the end. For viewers who enjoy thrillers that raise more questions than answers, The Huntsman has more than enough material to keep them hooked through its 2 hours. Number 5. Ambulance. A bank robbery that falls apart in under 5 minutes is what kicks off Ambulance. Will Sharp, a war veteran desperate to pay for his wife's surgery, turns to his adoptive brother Danny, a career criminal who spent years planning the heist in Los Angeles to pull off the job. When everything collapses in seconds, their only way out is to hijack an ambulance with a paramedic and a wounded cop inside, launching into a pursuit across the entire city that will last for hours. The film is directed by Michael Bay, which means exactly what you'd expect. Cameras in constant motion, explosions, drones, and relentless adrenaline for over 2.5 hours. Jake Gyllenhaal, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, and Eiza Gonzalez star. It's not prestige cinema, but within its genre, it's one of the most ferociously entertaining action films of recent years. Best watched on Netflix with the volume all the way up. Michael Bay has never been more efficient than he is here, and that's exactly what makes this film a standout within its category. Number 4. Arn, the Knight Templar. The most expensive production in Scandinavian cinema history is Arn, the Knight Templar, a medieval epic from 2007 that remains one of Netflix's best-kept hidden gems. The story takes place in 12th century Sweden and follows Arn Magnusson, a young nobleman raised in a monastery where he receives both military and spiritual training. When he returns to the world, he falls in love with Cecilia, a young woman from a rival clan. A vengeful nun falsely accuses them of incest through a political scheme, and as punishment, the church sentences Cecilia to 20 years in a convent and Arn to the same amount of time fighting in the Holy Land as a Knight Templar. What follows is a dual epic, him building a reputation as an exceptional military leader during the Crusades while she endures confinement without losing hope. It's a robust, well-crafted, and emotionally effective film that offers a Nordic perspective on the Crusades rarely seen in mainstream cinema, and that fully deserves to be rediscovered today. Number 3. The Rip. A team of narcotics cops in Miami raids a drug stash and finds something nobody expected: $24 million in cash hidden inside a safe house. Protocol requires them to stay on scene while the money is counted. That gives them plenty of time to start asking the question that changes everything. What if nobody knew we found this? The Rip is directed by Joe Carnahan and stars Matt Damon and Ben Affleck in their 11th collaboration together. Stephen Yeun, Teyana Taylor, and Kyle Chandler round out a top-tier cast. It's a hard-edged police thriller with a fast pulse and a classic spirit, inspired by the great cop films of the 1970s and Michael Mann's scorching intensity. Damon and Affleck have a chemistry no screenplay needs to build, it already exists, and the film makes the most of it. Netflix's first major release of 2026, it hit number 1 on the platform its first weekend and held the top spot for 2 straight weeks. Number 2. Medieval. The Holy Roman Empire is on the brink of collapse in the early 15th century. 2 popes compete for power, and several kings fight over control of Bohemia. On that turbulent political board, Lord Borish hires mercenary Jan Žižka, played by Ben Foster, for a specific mission: kidnap Lady Catherine, the fiancée of a powerful nobleman, to block his rise to power and preserve a shaky throne. What begins as a kidnapping mission becomes something far more complex when Žižka and Catherine develop an unexpected bond while armies close in from every direction. Medieval is a Czech production directed by Petr Jackal, with an international cast that includes Michael Caine, Till Schweiger, and Matthew Good. What stands out most are the combat sequences. brutal, visceral, and filmed with a historical rawness that few films in the genre dare to show. For fans of medieval epic cinema, it's one of the best options available on Netflix, a film that works both for its action and for its turbulent historical backdrop. Number 1. The Mother. A former elite operative known only as the Mother has spent years hidden in the mountains of Alaska alone, silent, and off the grid. When she was still an agent, she had a daughter and gave her up for adoption to protect her from the dangerous men she worked with. 12 years later, those men come back and kidnap the girl. The Mother comes out of hiding and enters full war mode, first to rescue her daughter, then to teach her to survive in a world that is going to try to kill them both. The Mother stars Jennifer Lopez in one of her best action roles, directed by Nikki Caro. It's a straightforward, well-executed action film with a genuine emotional core in the relationship between mother and daughter, two strangers who share blood and have to learn to trust each other under the most extreme conditions imaginable. It was Netflix's most-watched title during its release week and remains one of the platform's most popular action films. If you haven't seen it yet, this weekend is the time. And that's everything for today with our 10 best hidden movies on Netflix. There's something for everyone. Action, crime, historical drama, and medieval epic. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave your like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss our next videos. Did you already know any of these films? Which one are you watching first? Let us know in the comments. We love reading them. See you in the next one.